Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is our UFC 212 post-fight show. My name is Eddie Law. Of course, on tonight's crew, we have Mr. Dave Rodriguez and, of course, Fred Kirby. Hopefully joined soon by one Jesse Rubalcaba. What a crazy fucking fight. The main event, Jose Aldo's got control for basically most of the fight. And then Holloway hurts him, and it takes forever, but fight gets finished. Fred, what'd you think?
Amazing fucking performance from Max Holloway, man. Like you said, just adding on the fact that he actually look, man. Jose looked good in the beginning of this fight. For the first 3 or 4 minutes he came out, I was kind of like, oh shit, Max is bitten off a little more than he can chew here, man. Jose looked crisp. His combinations were coming in quick. He looked strong. He even looked like Max looked a little timid almost towards the end of the first round and the beginning of the second, a little gun shy. But I tell you what, man, I think it was at the end of the second round when you see Max starting to taunt Jose on the cage. I don't know, man. There was something about it where I felt it in the air when he was doing that. I'm like, man, he's got his timing, or he feels that Jose's losing some steam. There was something about that taunting at the end of the second round that came from Max Holloway where I was like, he's got it. I felt it. I tweeted it out right before I dropped him. I tweeted it out. I said, Jose's tired. Max is about to take over. I swear to God, 2 seconds after I put that fucking tweet out, he dropped him with that right hand. And I think that's exactly what you've seen, man. Jose is a bad motherfucker, but I think he tends to gas out, man. And I think he gassed, and Max Holloway does not gas. As a matter of fact, he does the opposite. He gets stronger and better as the fight goes on. And you seen what the fuck happened, man. History in the making.
Dude, it was beautiful, right? The way he dropped them, he's on top, landing bombs. Big John gave Aldo every chance possible to recover. I thought he was going to do it. I thought he was going to recover. But all that damage, when he had his back at the very end, he just laying from the side, and Jose just covering like this, trying to give a thumbs up. He couldn't get the hooks out, right? Max's hooks out. And he was heavy on him, dropping. Dave, do you have any problem whatsoever with the stoppage?
Not at all, man. I mean, much or super credit to Max Holloway and his camp, man. I mean, even Max, showing a great ground game and dominating Jose there. Who's seen him finishing the fight, in that matter? I mean, I think back to like what somebody similar that did that to him was like Mark Hominick when the inaugural bout was first, picked up by Jose. So you haven't really seen Jose put in that position before, but with Max doing that and able to finish the fight, I mean, like Fred said, the early rounds, I mean, like you said, the second round where he felt that he really just caught his timing. He had him backing up. The first round, he ate like a flying knee and started, get tagged up a bit by Jose. But when the second round came around, I agree with Fred. I felt a little bit, something turning the tides for Jose or for Max Holloway, of course. But yeah, man, much impressive, and I'm glad that he kind of just like did his thing after he won the fight. Didn't really call out anybody, much just a glorious performance on his part, man. Like he always mentions, post-fight UFC Hawaii, man, they got to somehow get that cat in a big time fight, maybe in Hawaii. So Max is the truth, man. Yeah, there's no denying that.
No, it was beautiful. Now, Jesse, he's joining us here from California. Your thoughts on the main event, man?
So I'm being the douchebag here, I guess, but I still haven't gotten home to watch it. I've just been kind of perusing the interwebs, but apparently from the little clips that I was able to see, man, that was a standout performance by our boy Max Holloway. What else can you say, right? I think on the pre-show I said that it was his time. I just felt that it was his time, and he did exactly what he had to do, right? Weather a bit of a storm and then put it on Jose Aldo and put him away. So that's what it is.
Yeah, and look, Max Holloway, they were saying that, Max Holloway is going to be a tough guy to beat and everything. It was just something so I was thinking about right now when Fred mentioned it. At the very end of that round, when he started throwing his hands up like, what? You know what I mean? Doing that shit. It showed to me that Max Holloway was comfortable and he was in rhythm and he was ready to fucking go. So I was not surprised that he won the fight. I thought it'd be way later on. I didn't think it was gonna be as soon as it happened. So, I mean, dude, crazy credit to Max Holloway. So now let's turn our attention to Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo did not do a post-fight interview. As much as Max can tell him, Bryce, hey, go him first. It's his town. Didn't do it. Whatever. we didn't get any interview from Jose Aldo afterwards. Fred, if you're Jose Aldo, what do you think is going through your mind?
Oh, you're disappointed. That's there's no doubt about that, man. I mean, what are you going to do? But I seen somebody right before he jumped on. I see somebody tweeted said Jose Aldo probably will be done after this, or he won't come back. I don't know about that, man. I mean, you know, I see no reason for him to fucking retire. I think we fucking really jumped the fucking gun on shit like this. Like, he's done forever now. I mean, you know, listen, man. Max Holloway is fucking blessed, Jack. He's a bad motherfucker. You know, hindsight is 2020, right? Like, even Conor couldn't finish Max. You know, looking back on it now, that actually means a whole lot, as Conor went on to snuff Jose out in fucking 14 seconds. So there's no shame in fucking losing to Max Holloway, man. I don't think that you know, this necessarily reflects that poorly on Jose. It's a bummer fucking losing, no doubt about that, but I don't think he really necessarily needs to do nothing. I don't think he's going to Bellator or he needs to change weight divisions or nothing. Fucking is what it is, man.
Dave, also, you retire with Jose? Oh, go ahead. What
I'll just say also, just upon conclusion of the fight, like I mentioned, I like that Max kind of like, you know, absorbed the moment, respect to Aldo, you know, didn't want to call anybody out because everybody on Twitter is kind of like, oh yeah, here comes the McGregor call out, or there's a Frankie Edgar there sitting cage side. So, you know, Max is going to be a defending champion, man. He's a true champion. He's going to take on all comers. So if the McGregor fight presents itself, he damn sure he's going to take that fight. But plenty of contenders at 145. So that's why I mentioned, like, I just like that he just kind of like a graceful performance, finished the job, finished a legend in his backyard. So nothing but respect, and nothing, Max is the truth, man. Nothing more to be said about that.
Yeah, now you just mentioned the McGregor thing. That's immediately what I got too. I was doing, you know, live tweeting, and everyone was like, so what's up? He's going to call him Conor? He's going to call Conor? And I go, I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I just don't think he will. You know what I mean? And it was the right move to not call him out. There's no need to.
Yeah, listen, here's the thing. I've seen everybody saying that, call it Conor. What a bunch of fucking knuckle-dragging fucking idiots, okay? Max is smart. Mm-hmm. You don't call Conor out now, all right? Fucking $8 billion fight with Floyd. Calling Conor out now does nothing but make you look desperate, and it sure as shit ain't gonna make Conor come back to fucking 145 pounds in MMA for peanuts. Not yet. Max Holloway's getting there, but he still needs a couple more wins. He might need to go up to 55 and do something. Listen, the reality is Conor's a fucking superstar, like a megastar. Like, he's probably about to get this fucking boxing match with Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? That's next level shit. What Max Holloway did tonight in our world for the hardcore MMA fans was fucking impressive.
Oh.
Let's see if it makes SportsCenter tomorrow.
You know what? I would be surprised if it didn't. I would be very surprised if it. Actually, I'd be pretty disappointed if it didn't. You know what I mean?
And then I don't know, man. It should, but
what? Let's say, how old is Jose Aldo? 29 years old, so
30.
Far from done. I mean, yeah, come on, man. The guy's gonna continue to fight, and I mean, he had a lot. I mean, in his backyard, it's a big time fight here. So, you know, like you said, Eddie, towards the end, gave him all the chances to, you know, stay in the fight, but he was just taking shots, and Max impressive stuff on the ground. So, but yeah, he kind of protested the stoppage afterwards, but respecting the cage upon conclusion of everything there.
Yeah,
and I love Jose, but boy, bye. That fight was over. Stick a fork in it. That shit was done. There might have been some weird calls tonight, Jack, but that was not one of them.
Yeah.
We get off this fight. Mm-hmm. I think we all can agree on one thing, right? Where does Max go from here? He's got to fight Frankie, right?
Frankie's a fight.
I mean, it's just, I know there's MMA math. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I'd say Frankie. We talked about it on the pre-show. I thought that would be the fight. I mean, if it was Jose that won the fight, probably wouldn't, the Edgar match wouldn't be too appealing, you know, to whatever the matchmakers, the fans, whoever, you know. But now it presents, you know, Max versus Frankie. That's a fresh matchup. And like I mentioned, Max is a champion that's going to take on all comers and possibly be one of the greatest fucking champions that we've ever seen. So only time will tell.
Now for a harder question for you fellas. What do we do with Jose? Do we give him another super tough fight at 45? Do we lob him a softball at 45? Do we send him up to 55 to kind of put him in an interesting fight up there? You had your druthers. What would you do with Jose next?
Man, I offer him a fight at 55. You know what I mean? Like, look, Jose still wants to, and actually, you know, it's funny you say that because on the YouTube comments, Eastside Rider says Jose still wants Conor at 55. Look, dude, if you want Conor, you got to go up. That's the only way you're going to do it. You're not going to stay at 45 and be like, come fight me, Conor, come fight me. Conor's not coming to you. You got to go to him, especially now. You know what I mean? You don't have a good, just like Conor always says, you don't have a belt, I'm not fucking with you. You got nothing for me. Unless you got a belt, you got nothing for me. So he's going to go get him. I think he will. I would, you know, if I'm the UFC, I'm like, hey, look, just move to 55, take a fight, see how you feel, see how it goes. He wins that one, then, you know, just keep suggesting he goes to 55. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, he's done, he's got nothing else to prove. True, he's got nothing really else to prove. But he's not fucking 38. You know what I mean? He's not like Vito, who everyone thought was going to be done tonight at 40, and now he says he's going to fight 5 more times. We'll talk about that part in a little bit because that was bullshit too. But I don't know, man. I think I tell him to move to 55, man, 100%. But he said just real quick because here's something I was wondering, and I know Dave, you still got to answer the question, but and Jeremiah actually on YouTube said the same thing I was about to ask. Where the hell were the leg kicks? He threw none. None.
About it. But on the topic of Aldo moving forward, I mean, I guess there's 2 options the way I see it. I mean, some selective specialty fights, which a lot of people thought that would, you know, present itself, win or loss. I mean, in a loss, now that we look at it, you know, maybe a McGregor fight, but having to move up a weight class. But honestly, a quick, simple solution to Aldo just, you know, getting back in the mix. Didn't the Korean Zombies fight with Lamas is canceled, right? So how about the Zombie, if he's healthy, Korean Zombie Aldo part 2? Why the hell not?
That'd be okay, but I don't think he's going to take that fight. I think it's too soon, but we'll see.
Yeah, well.
I'm gonna give him the Luke Thomas approach, man.
Okay.
I want to lob a softball at him, and I don't know who. I don't got a particular name, but I'd like to give him somebody that he can look impressive against, man. He's still a brand. He's still a bad motherfucker. Let's build up his confidence and throw him back in not throw him in a huge fight immediately, but you know, throw him a lamb to slaughter, man. Get that confidence built back up.
At what weight though? What weight do you throw him in at?
45. Yeah. I don't. Listen. Something like that. That's intriguing. Exactly. A very winnable fight, but a guy who's still rather. Actually, I love the idea of that. Jeremy Stevens. That's perfect. You know what I'm saying? A fight he more than likely should win. A guy that's catered to his style, and should build some confidence back up for him. And listen, if he gets starched by Jeremy, then yeah, send this funny ass up to 55 and let's have some fun.
Or also, I don't know if he's going to fight at 45 continuing or if he's going to do 55. How about an Anthony Pettis? Or is that just too much for Jose Aldo at this point?
Anthony Pettis can't make the fucking weight, dude. Jose Aldo beats the shit out of Anthony Pettis. There's no question about that. But Anthony can't make the weight.
Because I say it because you guys remember that there was a time period where people were clamoring for that being like a fucking super fight when Pettis was the champ, of course. So, yeah, so look at it now, you know, after the fact, you know, where we're at now, Aldo just being defeated. Maybe.
Yeah, listen, no way, fuck that. The only reason I don't want to do that is because at that point, one of my boys is dead. If they fight each other, whoever loses that fight is fucking curtains, and I like both of them far too much to see one of them die yet.
I'm with you on that.
Let's lob both of those cocksuckers a softball, please.
I like the Jeremy Stevens Aldo idea. And also, who else would you throw at him? I don't know. What up?
Well, Pettis is fighting Jim Miller anyway, right? Isn't that the fight slated for 13, right? Yeah. Okay.
UFC doesn't give a fuck. They'll fucking switch shit up on everybody real quick.
Oh, no doubt.
Jeremy Jeremy Daskins just said, no, not Jeremy. Jeremy would KO Aldo. Can't believe I just typed that.
You never know.
Where the hell were the leg kicks? Did he throw any? Did you guys see him throw any actual leg kicks?
It wasn't just this fight, though, right? Aldo hasn't thrown leg kicks since Uriah Faber had long hair.
True.
It's been a minute.
I mean, he abandoned the leg kicks a long time ago. I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's got to be some kind of fucking reason to it. I would imagine, but well, you're right.
Yeah, that's legit his best weapon. I've always thought that was his best weapon. Whenever I thought about Jose Aldo, I thought leg kicks. Why? Because Uriah had to be helped onto the fucking plane. He had to be carried out of the arena. So when I think Jose Aldo, I think leg kicks. You know what I mean? Now, here's one question that I have, because this annoyed the fuck out of me, and now there's no shutting it up. It's just not going to happen, okay? Everyone said that Jose Aldo's legacy, or whatever you want to call it, was tarnished by that 13-second knockout from Conor McGregor. A win tonight would have erased that, I think. He loses. That's going to get louder. Is his legacy tarnished in any way? I mean, Freddie, you want to take that first?
No. In a weird way, I almost disagree with you, man. I think if he wins the fight tonight, that 13-second cliffhanger hangs over him even more.
Yeah.
Now, it's just another one, right? It's just one of multiple now. But listen, MMA fans are so incredibly fickle, man. It is the most "what have you done for me lately" sport in the fucking world. Yeah. In the past, it's still what he's done in the past. Hell, he still looked really good in this fight for the first 4 minutes. It's not like he's an aging Tyson, getting eaten up in the later end of his career or something, man. I don't know, man. I don't think it's that bad necessarily. His legacy is still intact. He's still the greatest featherweight of all time, even with the Conor loss and even with the Max loss tonight. Now we'll see what Max goes on to do. Conor bounced out of the division as soon as he won the belt, so he don't fucking qualify for that argument. So, no, I mean, dude's legacy is still intact. It is what it is, man. He fought the fucking very best.
Jesse.
What's up?
Do you think that, people were talking about that 13-second knockout had tarnished Jose Aldo's legacy? You think that's true?
No. I mean, look, what Fred said is very true. I mean, we're very fickle as fans, right? And I think I don't know if Fred's gonna agree with me on this, but I think we admire these guys for what they do. And when they have these long legacies of like undefeated streaks, we kind of put them on this pedestal. And when they lose, it's like the heroes being like dethroned, right? And we don't like that. We want to keep our heroes like always winning, never losing, like always going to win, always going to be there. And once they fall, like I think it kind of reminds us that they're human as well. And that kind of stings us a little bit. But I also think that we have to see it from the other side. I mean, Jose Aldo, I think someone wrote on Twitter, in the last 12 years, only 2 people can say that they beat him. One of them just beat him tonight. The other guy was Conor McGregor in 13 seconds. But I just don't see how this is a legacy tarnisher. I think if he keeps on fighting and he keeps on losing, then we're going to look at those losses differently. I think we're going to see him as like, obviously he stayed past his prime and, he went into that zone where, Chuck Liddell and a bunch of other guys that stayed too long in the game. But I don't think this is that either. I think this is just bumps in the road, and I disagree with Fred. I listened to what Fred said earlier about him, not leaving the division. I think it's time for Jose Aldo to move up. He's always said that making the weight is always hell on him. He's always talked about moving up. I think now's the time. 2 losses, 2 guys that are probably the best at that division at this point right now. I just think it's time for him to move up and prove that he's, the Frankie Edgar in reverse, right? Frankie Edgar dominated 155, then moved down. Now I guess Jose Aldo can, dominated 145, now moves up to 155, and maybe he has that resurgence and that old Jose Aldo we get to see again, the leg kicking and stopping people and just being a vicious guy, that Scarface that we miss. But I don't think it's a legacy tarnisher. I think this is more of like seeing how good Max Holloway truly is. To the people that didn't believe in him, I guess it's now time for them to believe.
Dave, you agree with that?
Yeah, no, you guys make some great points. I mean, I think what I tell a lot of people too also is, MMA in its entirety, everything, like all the stars involved, like in the Fertitta era, whether it was like John Jones, for example. Look at what John Jones has done in the past. Just, great champion of the past. He could probably walk away right now and still be considered one of the greatest of all time. But he, similar to Aldo, has youth on his side. They're both around the same age. So Aldo, right now is sort of at a crossroads in his career. I could easily see him probably going to 55 or just continuing to fight at 45, either option. But we've seen them all lose, guys, and that's what I tell you know, many MMA fans, people that ask me about fights, we've seen them all lose. I mean, with the exception of being Johnny Bones himself, but he lost to the two of the best guys, Aldo, and was a killer for so many years. And people are just becoming to know what Aldo was and how much of a legend he is. And just credit to how Max Holloway, how impressive, and just how good that kid is at 25 years old. So, yeah, no, man, Jose will stick around. It may be some specialty fights, but yeah, there's this thing about, oh yeah, it's he's past his prime or he's washed up or whatever. Not at all, man. He lost to Conor McGregor, who's, you know, one of the best. You know, he's the current fucking 55-pound champion. Was the 45-pound champ. Now Max holds the gold, and yeah, it's pretty simple where Jose goes from here. It's either if go to 45, continue to fight and prove that he's one of the best, or he can move up and have some specialty fights there. And those seem like the only two options for him right now.
You should call out GSP. Fuck it. All right. Anything else in this fight before we move on to the co-main? No? All right. So, co-main event. Everyone's thinking that winner's probably going to get a title shot of some kind of rematch, a rematch for some people. A lot of people want to see Rose get in there. And a lot of people were saying, you know, maybe Carolina will get in there. So, we see the fight. Carolina, you know, she was holding her own for a while, and then they got in a clinch. Claudia takes her down, takes her back, chokes her out. 1 round, clean, nice and easy for her. Do we get the third bout with JJ there, Dave, for Claudia?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if they don't book Rose, then yeah, I guess as impressive as Claudia was, they may in fact have to book that one up. And then, I mean, she did pretty, you know, put it on Joanna pretty good in their previous bouts, and you know, maybe the third time would be a charm for her. But as we see, like Jesse said on our pre-show, that, you know, Claudia has been improving herself. She's changed camps. That was a good sign, you know, for her, and to make it all about her. And we've seen a lot of fighters where they've made smaller camps and made it strictly just about them. We've seen them make strides in their career and become champions at that. So, yeah, I think Claudia does get the opportunity. I don't know how soon it'll be. They may, in fact, line up a Rose with somebody else in the meantime. But Claudia looked very impressive, man. I mean, against Kowalkiewicz, she looks like she's got some work to do as far as her ground game. And just back to, you know, to the toolbox there to improve her skill set, because, yeah, that's a definite hole in her game that, you know, at this high level where she's at, yeah, Claudia, Joanna, Jessica Andrade, they set the bar pretty high there too as well. So some interesting matches to be made at 115, but yeah, give Claudia the next shot. Let's see a third fight. I'm down to see it for sure.
Fred.
No. Fuck that shit right in the ass, Jack. Listen, she looked good tonight. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not just ready for the fucking trilogy just yet. I'll tell you what I would like to do. I'd like to see Claudia fight Thug Rose. Why not, right? They're both kind of low-key deserving of the fucking ticket. Let them fight each other. Ain't nobody clamoring to see JJ fight. All due fucking respect. JJ's an active champion. She can go to the fucking beaches of Ibiza, listen to fucking EDM music for a little while, work on her tan, and just chill out and enjoy being fucking Johanna champion over in Poland. You know what I'm saying? Let Thug Rose and Claudia fight and build a little steam, build a real contender for the division. We don't need another fucking strawweight defense that fucking soon. We'll be all right. Now, and in the meantime, give Andrade fucking KK.
That's not a bad idea, actually. I like that. I like that. Jesse, what do you think about that?
Great minds think alike. That's exactly what I was thinking, actually, there, Fred. Yeah, I mean, why? I kept saying that Rose is not ready, right? I think we all agree Rose is just not ready for that level yet, and I think she needs to prove it with a high-level opponent. What better way than to do it with Claudia, right? I mean, that makes perfect sense. Plus, you know, Joanna Champion, she's been a pretty active defender of her title. A couple months layoff, you know, probably will do her some good. So, you know, heals up her hands, you know, gets better technique, and, you know, whoever comes out of that fight will get a damn good fight. So, yeah, book that.
Yeah, why not? All right, anything else on this fight before we move on? All right, let's talk about Vitor Belfort. Can someone tell me what rounds he won or something? Tell me something. I don't get the shit. I don't agree at all with that. He got the Brazil round. Whatever the joke was on Twitter. He won Brazil, the Brazil round. That was fucking weird.
Did you think Nate got robbed?
It's hard to say robbed, but I didn't think Vitor won unanimous. Not even close. I thought it could have gone either way, honestly.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was unanimous for anybody.
Yeah, I feel you on that, but I don't never really get caught up on the fucking unanimous or the split or none of that shit. Kind of close enough that it didn't really matter, to be honest. I'm not that it didn't matter, but I really wouldn't have been that salty about it, I guess. Like, I wasn't really outraged that Vitor won. It was a little surprising that Vitor won. I think I had kind of gave Nate the fight, but I wasn't hating. Like, they were in Brazil, so it was low key. Like, well, true. Of course, they gave it to Vitor. You got to fucking beat the king in the jungle. It was more surprising that Vitor is going to fight till fucking Donald Trump's out of office. But
yeah, he wants 5 more fights, man.
So explain this to me, guys. Was anybody as shocked? Well, you guys were watching it, but I was shocked when I looked down at my phone at my updates on my picks and saw that it went the full 3 rounds. I definitely thought someone was getting stopped in this fight. So was it a lack of activity, or was it just that neither of these guys were really, hitting their mark and trying to knock each other out? What was the deal here? How did this go to a decision?
Yeah, well, Vitor didn't even bother to do his usual Vitor blitz. I think Faraz Sahabi, he trained in Montreal at TriStar for this one with Faraz Sahabi, right? And there was no blitz, right? The usual first round, just go ape shit trying to knock a dude out, like blitz that we see from Vitor. Not even once. There was a couple times we would hurt Nate, and he would kind of go after him, and then he would stop, right? Be like, all right, I got to be smart about this shit. Yeah. But we didn't get that from Vitor. And Nate, Nate's finished some guys, but, he was busier. He was more busy trying to not get finished and trying to get the fight to the ground. So
yeah, the first round.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dave.
Marquardt landed the takedown in the first. That was the only takedown of the fight. And then I think Marquardt outstruck him, though. I don't know how much. It was like 30 strikes between the two. Vitor, I mean, he just didn't have it. He didn't have the Vitor blitz, whether it was, a couple, 3 combo or something in there. But it was a weird fight, man. I mean, I did not think this fight would go 3 rounds at all, let alone 2. I thought somebody would get snuffed in the first round. And then I did tweet out during the fight, keep in mind, Nate Marquardt has knocked fucking Tyron Woodley out. So I thought he was more than capable of finishing Vitor at this state of his career. But yeah, I knew when they went to the judges, though, Vitor was going to get it, because early in the night there was that other fight, was a 30-27 against Moraes. That was a total shit show fucking card. So I just knew that Vitor would get the Brazilian love here. I don't know if it's his cousin or fucking uncle or somebody that's judging the fight, but yeah, he definitely got the nod. I don't think anybody got robbed. It was just a weird fight. Not many strikes were landed in those 3 rounds.
Does this make it more impressive that Max Holloway, returning to that little storyline, that he was able to go down to Brazil, not get a decision, but finish the fight? Because do you think, had it gone to a decision, do you think we would have had this controversy of maybe a little bit of home cooking?
Hell yeah, dude. The way the fight was going, Josie had those first 2 rounds. You know what I mean? So at that point, that 3rd round, they could say, okay, that one went to Holloway. And so all they got to do is give him the 4th or the 5th. All it has to do is be close enough to be like, oh, yeah, Josie got it. So if we're talking in that kind of storyline, that kind of direction to where the judges are helping the Brazilian guys, fuck yeah, they'd have gone Jose's way.
Okay, easy, Eddie Bravo and Alex Jones.
Okay,
let's not assume what shoulda, coulda, woulda, mighta fucking happened, all right? Listen, I'll tell you what, though. Going into this fight, I thought it was going to be a fucking couple of geriatric old geezers. Quite frankly, it wasn't that bad of a fight. It was all right. It had some boring spots, but there were some other times where they kind of got after it. They were both kind of roughed up after the fight. All things considered, I kind of low-key thought the fight was going to be worse than it was, to be honest. It was all right for what it was worth. It would be better if Vitor just took this win and humbly bowed out. I mean, I don't know who the fuck he thinks wants to watch him fight 5 more times. And I'm not trying to be cunty. I swear I'm not. But, like, the Vitor of old's gone, man. He came in and he got away with that TRT shit for a while. He thunderstruck Luke. He was learning some fucking roundhouse kicks and shit. It was fun while it lasted, but that shit's over. He got to fight with John Jones. Hell, man, 5 years ago, most of us thought Vitor was done. You know what I'm saying? Before he even got back to the UFC, like, all this is just extra time for Vitor. So I don't know about him fighting 5 more fucking times, but tonight was all right.
Wait, but do you think maybe some hand-pick fights, maybe that'll make it entertaining? Maybe like a returning whatchamacallit, what's his name, Matt Hughes, or maybe like something crazy like a BJ Penn fight or something, kind of like he had thought, like
CM Punk.
Legends.
Yeah,
Sam
CM Punk.
Alvey. Sam Alvey. No, fuck CM Punk. Give him Sam Alvey. That's a good fight for Vitor.
Right, but I'm saying I'm asking like you guys, like, do you think five more fights, a couple more years, do you think we could eke this out, like really run it to the wheels fall off here?
If you want to see
Sure.
in there.
Sure. What the fuck, right? We can always hustle up a warm body for him to get in there and throw some meat against. Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? He's still Vitor. He's coming off a win. We can market that, enough. Jack. I mean, yeah, sure, but like to what point? To what point is he going to be a draw for hardcore heads or even the dopey Bud Light fucking fans at this point? Because Vitor, I'm sure, still gets paid a lot of money too, man, to show up and fight. So at a certain point, it's probably going to be like, what I'm saying? What are they going to do? Are they going to use him on the fucking the FS1 fucking portion of the card for the headliner there? Is he going to open up the pay-per-view card?
No, I'll tell you what you do with Vitor. You stick him in Brazil, and every time you have a FS1 like fight night, headlining Vitor Belfort.
That's true.
That arena out.
Yeah, that's right. Just dust him off and have him in there. Yeah.
It was give him a softball. Give him a softball fight.
And you don't have to use that excuse of, oh, well, Globo wants him on TV down there. Now you could just be like, well, he's our Brazil guy.
Now, I'm not watching the post-fight press conference, but someone just tweeted out, wait, did Vitor just compare himself to Uber?
Oh.
Wow. So that must be getting really good.
I'm going to watch that as soon as we're done here.
And also, too,
I hear it's drinking.
I was just gonna say, with all the loose skin that Vitor has hanging around, we might be able to get him down to 170. We get him with those fucking Marv Marinovich prick.
I thought that shit right away. As soon as he came out and he took his shirt off, I'm like, what's a 170 guy? If
we'll just shred all that off. We'll melt that off and we'll get him right down to 170.
Dude,
son.
all he's gotta do is stop.
Woodley.
Yeah, he's gotta just stop pretending to work out. Just stop pretending to work out. Just work cardio only. Get down to 170. Get you some fights, motherfucker. CM Punk's real for real. It's a real fight at that point.
No, Mike Perry and Vitor is the fight there.
Fuck Mike Perry. I don't hear nothing about no Mike Perry. I like the guy as a fighter. He's a douchebag, but I'd love to see him fight. But I don't want to get destroyed. If Vitor lands a lucky punch and knocks him out, there goes another prospect. We don't want to do that shit either. Or we don't want to or we see an execution by Perry. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, more than likely that.
Why are we trying to kill Vitor? I thought we were just trying to keep him down in Brazil and give him like gimme fights, basically, to and fill out some arenas down there.
All right, let's move on here to the next fight here. Now, impressive in a certain way. He was supposed to win the way he did, and he fucking pulled it off. Paulo Hachina knocks out Oluwale Bambos, who came out like a bat out of hell in the first round and gassed the fuck out in the dumbest way possible. But goddamn, was it entertaining? That was a fun fucking fight to watch. I enjoyed every second of that, Fred.
Listen. I said on the pre-show that I had no idea who these two fucks was. That goddamn fight was from that fool's haircut to the way he fought, to the way he was bouncing around and praying to Jesus, to the look on his mug after Jesus let him down. That fight was epic, and I can't wait to watch both of those cats fight again. Listen, that fight, you're right, man. It was fun. And the one homeboy, what's his name? Bocancino?
Bocancino, yeah. Close enough.
There you go.
Close enough.
You Latino pricks are better at saying that shit. Bocahane. That motherfucker's bad. Now listen, I'm gonna say right now though, he better watch out for USADA.
Yeah.
The body like that unless you're cheating. I'm just fucking saying. He looks fucking good.
Way too ripped.
Way too ripped, and he's fucking strong and fast, and he's moving pretty quick to be that strong, man. But what's there to say? That dude looks like a fucking killer. But I gotta say, man, in taking an L, old Bambuzi impressed the shit out of me. I can't wait to watch him fight again.
Look, man, the way that dude fucking I was laughing the whole time the first round. The first round was hilarious to me because I'm like, this dude's gonna gas out, he's gonna get knocked the fuck out. It's gonna be sad. Now, Dave, what do you think of Apollo now? Still a prospect, or is he a little up on in your book?
Yeah, no, he's prospect. I mean, all of his fights have taken place in Brazil, so he's like one of those Brazil guys. But maybe they'll bring him to the States, and maybe he fights like I mentioned or tweeted out like Jack Hermanson would be an ideal matchup for him. Like ranking wise, they're right there. Hermanson's fresh off a KO. Be a good matchup, you know what I'm saying? But I think he did his job in there. But I agree with you, Ed. Bamboze, I was just getting a kick out of that first round. I mean, the dude is like a black belt and like fucking everything, but he can't seem to like find a style that just he sticks to and either is kick heavy or just on the feet, because he scored 2 takedowns on Borderchina and sort of like started to do some work there. But he has a real unique skill set. He just can't like stay fucking in one particular area that suits him well in certain fights and have the ability to adjust though. But we knew this fight was going to end up the way it was, and Bamboze just totally gassed the fuck out. And probably would have lasted maybe another round and a half or so. So,
let me tell you something. You just nailed it, David. Bamboze gassed out.
Yep.
If you can get that prick somewhere where he don't gas out and he can keep that fucking chimpanzee style up for 3 rounds, he's going to be a lot to fucking deal with, man.
I agree, Jesse.
Man, I think I tried to turn you guys on to Olawale before he got into the UFC, and I even said on the pre-show, I mean, he's been one of my biggest disappointments because he just can't seem to find what he has to do to really, I don't know, perform, right? But I agree with Fred. I think maybe getting down to American Top Team or maybe what is it, Alliance or somewhere where they're just gonna push his cardio. I mean, he's got the skill set. It's just he just does not have any cardio to back his back that skill set. But I mean, what are we talking about, guys? I mean, Bohachini is still a prospect. I mean, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. This was his basically like setup fight to really bring in the crowd. Because hometown boy. Have an exciting fight with a guy that's going to have an exciting enough style that's going to make it nice and good, but not threaten him in any way and, derail the little hype train. So, I mean, we need to see Bohachini against somebody much more impressive. I almost feared that Dave was going to throw out the Darren Elkins, gauntlet down there, different weight class, but, I know Dave and Darren Elkins over there but they would still take that fight, so. But he needs to be tested better than this. Definitely before I can even call him anything more than just a prospect. And get him out of Brazil too. The hell with that.
That's what I want to see. USADA gets deported by Brazil constantly, apparently, because that motherfucker. I mean, you can say a lot of things about Jose as well, because he looked like he was back in shape. But come on, Bohachino, we know you're fucking around. It's a matter of time for old Jeff Nowitzki that comes out the your ass or gives you a pass. One or the other. All right. What you going to deal? All right. Moving on to the next fight here. A lot of people didn't agree with this fight, with the decision or not decision, the ending. And I'll tell you why. Yancy Medeiros, hurts Eric Silva, legit, hurts him, knocks him down, gets on top, is dropping bombs, and the fight gets stopped. And even to me, it looked like a bad stoppage. It looked like it was premature. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, from certain angles, it looks like somewhat of a bad stoppage because a lot of the strikes are partially landing. And then, I mean, I think he just wasn't just showing like a sign of defense. I don't know what the ref's seen there to like cause it to jump in there because he's right in the middle of the action. And then I think initially when he hit the ground, his head snapped back and he was pretty rocked, man, but he seemed to like come back a little bit. And then in the end, when he actually like came to, he went to grab the referee as if like that was Yancy himself. So at that point, I thought, he was out of it. Eric Silva was fucking out. So I seen it as a clean stoppage. I mean, when a guy tries to wrestle a fucking referee, he's out of it. So I don't know if the protest came right then and there, but it looked like he was completely out to me. I'll have to go back and rewatch it, but that was controversial at that. But a lot of people probably would think that it is. I mean, I just see it as him getting rocked and his head snapping back initially, and that's what the referee seen to probably to get that to a stoppage at that point.
Definitely not. Fred, what do you think of that? I'm happy. My boy Yancy got a win, but I recognize when the stoppages got a little early. You think it was early?
Listen, man, this is one of those classic cases, right? Was the stoppage maybe a cut hair early? Sure, maybe. You know, Eric Silva wasn't fucking dead, laying lifeless on the fucking canvas. So, sure, maybe it was a little early. But come on, man. He got fucking thunderstruck from the gods. And we all seen Eric Silva. Like, you know what time it was, man. There's about a 98.9% chance that fool ain't getting out of it. Eating punches at that point. Like, was the stoppage maybe a little early? Yeah, maybe. But would the fight have turned out any different? More than likely not. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't one of those cases where I felt like, go on for another hot second. You know, Eric Silva was about to regain his bearings and pull guard. Eric Silva was fucked, man. And let me tell you something about Eric Silva, just quickly while we're on this cute cocksucker. Eric Silva is like that super hot ex-fuck buddy that keeps giving you the clap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to root for him. I know he's going to be exciting. And every time he fucking lets me down and burns me, the cocksucker. But this is it. I'm done with fucking Eric Silva. I ain't hooking up with him no more. I'm picking against that cocksucker from now on. I don't care who he fights. I'm done with him. No more hype. I don't care how he cuts his hair. If he wears a cute little mustache, fucking over. That damn dude is good for about 90 seconds, and then he's curtains every time, which really gas out in this one. He just fucking was on the receiving end of a fucking thunder strike. That was just poor defensive boxing technique, and he got fucking popped right in his kisser. So he can't even really use the guise of an excuse as he was tired on that one. He just fucking lost the striking exchange. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Eric Silva, one of the fucking, well, I wouldn't say he's one of the biggest busts, but he's definitely a cat that burst onto the scene that is now completely fucking fizzled out, in my opinion. Quite frankly, I'd be fine if they sent him on to Bellator at this point.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse.
This was one of the fights where I got to see the little clip of the knockdown and stuff, and without a lot of reference there, I mean, it looked like he took. It was one of those shots, like Fred said, where we know what time it is. You know, he's not very good at recovering after he takes one of those heavy shots, and he just kind of goes down and kind of just turtles up. You know, and like Fred said, what if we had waited, 1-2 more seconds? You know, was he gonna, miraculously recover, stand up, and knock him out, Yancey out? Nope. I mean, it was just gonna go back to the same thing, more than likely. Eric, like Fred said, I really think, and I'll take it the whole way there. He's one of the guys that was a huge prospect, and he's a complete bust. I mean, you can even count it to the day. USADA came in, and Eric Silva completely became dad bod Eric Silva with, very little cardio to back that up. And his chin completely went away. So, yeah.
And they're still trying to call him a prospect.
Nah, man. He's had enough of a chance to turn it around. I think it's risen time. Eric Silva.
Eric Silva's a prospect?
No, he's one of those guys, like, there's a handful of them where they continue to call them prospects until they're 34 years old, so.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What? Okay, fuck it. I don't want to talk about Eric Silva. Fuck that.
But tell me, like, besides, what was that other good-looking Mexican kid that made the ESPN cover before him that everybody thought was
Roger Huerta?
Yeah, there you go, Roger Huerta. This kid also had that kind of look, that style. They wanted to push him, and now he's just a nobody fighter. Only to the certain hardcores that kind of remember him from, basically, are the only ones that cheer for him. And I think it's time to let him go off to Risen and, juice up and, get that, Diego Brandao treatment. Go somewhere else, make some good paychecks, get some crappy fights, out, whatever, right?
I think Silva's done. I think Brandao has maybe even a chance to come back to the UFC, though. That fucker's been killing dudes, like, in Russia and shit, so maybe we see him back.
Didn't he just get KO'd, though?
No, he KO'd somebody. I don't know who it was.
Okay.
So he's, yeah. Brandao is straight up like, yeah, that dude. I mean, he fought Conor McGregor, right? The old day, like the Ultimate Fighter days, right?
Speaking of people KO and people that nobody knows, that's a pretty good segue into our next topic.
Go for it.
Well, we all seen what happened with the big splash debut of Marlon Moraes, however the fuck old John Anik was fucking saying. Quickly, before we fucking finish this thing up, what did you guys think about the three-man team tonight of Anik, Cruz, and Stan? Now that I've asked that question, I'll be a completely dickhead, and I'll go ahead and I'll answer first.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love it. And it's a weird thing, right? It's like a super group. When you get a super group together and you love everybody individually, but then when you get them together, it just doesn't jive for you. That's kind of that feeling I had tonight, man. Like, I love Stan. I love Cruz. They're both super analytical and technical and understand the game, like, unlike mostly anybody. But I felt like there was almost too much of that. Fucking history class tonight with those two pricks.
It was, but
me personally,
I was okay with it, man. I was cool with it. I thought it was, it wasn't DC talking to everybody, and it wasn't, everyone complaining about Joe Rogan being biased and shit. It was pretty even, pretty
Todd Grisham. Where the hell was Todd Grisham?
Who gives a shit? I hope he keeps his ass in the fucking FS1 studio where he belongs.
Okay.
Bring that motherfucker for. Sorry.
So am I in the minority here then? And
I think so. Jesse, what do you think?
I haven't seen any of it, so.
Oh yeah, he didn't watch it.
Dave, what did you think about the team, the broadcast team tonight?
Yeah, I think like when you kind of noticed it, because there was a couple of fights that ended just suddenly, and there's always like that reaction from Joe Rogan or if it's John Anik or so. And the end of a couple of these fights, I can't remember which one in specific. It's just like the instantly an end, and it was fight? Like no, every other fight, I think, if you go back and watch it. But it was kind of strange if you listen to the commentating towards the end of fights. It's just not quiet. It doesn't have that fight night type feel. And I think somebody was tweeting about that, and they're like, whatever, Joe Rogan, we all know he doesn't do
I know what you're missing. So. You're missing the whole, it's the craziest fight I've seen in my life. They're the #1 fighter ever. Hey, every fight from the prelims all the way to the fucking main event. I love Joe Rogan, dude. I was
gonna say, you go fuck yourself, because that's exactly what I was missing tonight.
Yeah, me too. I was
motherfucker
excited.
Losing their shit.
Yeah.
True. That with all due respect, that is what I meant, though. Not like you need a comedian on, but it felt like they were all a bit too analytical. Now, John Anik does play that role, but I felt like he was just too passive. Dominic and Brian they ran over him, man. John Anik got him where he could fit in, but those two are very dominating personalities. They know what they're looking at, and they're I felt like they kind of overshadowed John Anik a lot, and he didn't really get the chance to give that Joe Rogan a backbone. Okay.
Hasn't that been his problem though? Even when he was DC and Joe Rogan, it was a DC and Joe Rogan show, and John Anik would just like chime in with like, and don't forget ESPN radio on, or like, don't forget, NASCAR coming up this week. Like he would just chime in with the commercials, and that's about it. Like he was relegated to the commercial guy, basically.
Yeah,
that's Todd Grisham's job, though. So that's what that motherfucker's for. So.
Nah,
there's a little bit of that.
Just talking about trying to analyze it with that football talk.
Yeah.
God, I hate that.
Okay. Now listen, getting back on track here. The Marlon Moraes, Rafael Assunção fight. Mm-hmm. Interesting fight, man. I think you had mentioned at the top of the show, or one of y'all mentioned, or no, Dave mentioned. You said that you thought that was atrocity. I'll just ask you right straight out. Did you think that Moraes deserved the W in that fight?
Yeah, I think he took the third, and I think a lot of people had it 1-1. I thought the third decided the fight, and I think the strike count was near even or so, but maybe Moraes landed the more significant strikes. It was super close, for the fact that judge had all rounds go in favor of Assunção, like that had to have been like his fucking uncle or somebody, you know what I mean, or family member. Because yeah, man, if you go back and rewatch the fight, I mean, it's always good to go back and check it out, and I will do so. I suggest you all do the same, especially Jesse. You haven't seen the fight, so yeah, go back, check it out, and yeah, I think the third round determines it. I mean, real close, super close, but definitely not a 30-27.
Man, I was crushed to hear that. I've been a big fan. I think, you guys know I got to interview Marlon before one of his World Series of Fighting title defenses. Really, down to earth guy, really nice guy, humble guy, but a killer. a real killer in the cage every time he performed. And I saw a lot of chatter on Twitter about how the hell could a 30-27 be in the scorecards. So it definitely sounds like there was a lot of Brazil home cooking. So like Dave said, I definitely have to go back. Hopefully, was this on FX or FS1? What was it on?
Yeah, FS1, the main event.
FS1.
Yeah.
Oh, FS1. All right, because I saw somewhere that they said that it was on FX, and I was like, oh no. I hope I recorded them correctly.
I tell you what though, man, I felt like this fight was super close though. Either way, it was really close. And I tell you what, man, kind of weirdly, not really exactly like in the main event, but at the end of the first round, Sun Tzu lands a couple straight right hands that kind of rocked Marlon a little, and I felt like in the big, and I felt like in the beginning of the second round, and for a lot, or like to the middle of the second round, it just kind of slowed Marlon down a little bit, because when Marlon came out in the first round on it and a lot more active, and it felt like those two right hands at the end of the first round really kind of slowed his roll a little bit. But it was a really close fight either way, man. It was almost like the Vitor Nate fight, kind of, where either way I wouldn't have been too terrible. Like nobody's getting robbed per se in that. Like it was a close fight regardless.
Yeah, it was definitely very close, but I don't know. I honestly didn't. Okay, going into the fight, I didn't care about who won. I want to see what Moraes would bring. Right? I gotta say, I was impressed. I like what he brought. He was still, he was still like a really quick guy, right? And the Sun Tzu was a Sun Tzu, but I don't know. I thought it was a weird, finish, I guess, or decision, but it was very close. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, all right. Any other fights you guys want to talk about?
Let me mention, or also we didn't talk about the performance of the night bonuses. So let's start off with Max Holloway, of course. Fight of the night, performance of the night there, much deserving, 50 G's. Submission of the night, I believe, was Claudia Gadelha, another 50 G's. She's going to buy a new car, she said, and move to Albuquerque. So you're seeing a lot of Claudia Gadelha down here in Jackson. So, and then also low key on the prelims, Brian Kelleher ended up, submitting Iri Alcantara. I think the first time he's ever been subbed. So he asked for it. I think he cut a post-fight promo and was like, I just beat one of your top guys in that division. Where's my 50 G's? And there he goes. And props to that guy, because he showed up big. And I picked against him, and I should have picked the motherfucker. So,
hey, I guess I got to ask you specifically. What do you think about Jamie Moyle losing tonight?
Ooh. For me,
What's that?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, that fight was I think the strike. I forgot who won the striking battle. I mean, it was really real close. It was real even, because it was a unanimous decision her way. Right. But it was real tight though. I think the strikes were near accurate, exactly the same amount. And I don't know. It was because it was on the early prelims, and I think I missed the first round and a half on it though. But I know late in the fight though, it was really competitive, real close bout. Not a whole lot of action, but I think like I said, the strikes were really, really close, and I thought it could have gone either way. But I think she got 29-28 all cards, right?
29-28 for one, 30-27 for the other two. So it was actually pretty. The judges thought it was pretty clear. But he's a striking thing. There was 80. They were tied at 80 for significant strikes, and there was 101 to 85 on total strikes in favor of Viviane. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing.
Is that Fight Metric? Is that what it is?
I believe it's Fight Metric. It's UFC.com. They use Fight Metric, right?
Yeah, because I thought it was pretty close, and then me missing the first round and a half, that's where I kind of gauged the fight from there. So yeah, early off, I kind of missed out on a little bit of that fight though. So.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we go?
Nope, that'll do it. Quickly before we go, rank it 1 to 10. What do y'all give this event overall? Jesse, you shitbird, you haven't seen it yet, so you don't get to participate in this part of the program.
Dave, you go first.
Can I just give it a 10?
Man, I'd have to say, I don't know. 6 or 7. Is that bad? Or
it's not fucking great, Dave.
You know what? I'll give it a solid I'll give it a solid 8. Honestly, I enjoyed the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? But there was just something was missing out of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
was missing.
maybe, but up to the main event, it was like an 8 for me. When we hit the main event, that fucking shut up through the roof. I was excited as fuck because fucking I was picking Holloway from the get go, so I thought it was gonna happen. So I was excited, but I would say like an 8 out of 10. I say
7.5.
Yeah, there you go.
7.5.
Yeah,
It was a good card.
Quite honestly, yeah, I was more interested in like 4 specific fights on here, but of course, like, you know, the Spicely Shoeface fight. I mean, that fight kind of went, I guess, Eddie. I mean, BJJ. I mean, Carlos Jr. Tough motherfucker, man. But Spicely wanted to play with fire there, and
that's where he fucked up. Spicely just earned his black belt just very recently. Congratulations, Eric Spicely. Kyle Zapato's won championships at black belt with an S. He is a multiple-time champion. All right. Experience is huge, motherfucker. It's huge. You don't go in there and pick a ground battle with a ground killer. All right. You just don't do that. But Eric Spicely is a ground guy, so he thinks. So he's like, fuck it, fire over fire, see what happens. And he lost. He got burned. So what are we going to do? All right. If nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. These post-fight, especially because they're right after the event, it's late as shit for everybody. We try to keep them as short as we can. So thanks for tuning in tonight. You can hit us up at Elaw31 for myself. Dave is at Dave's MMA Brief. Kirby's at Kirby_MMA. And Jesse's at Spawat 1983. Of course, you can go to crossmma.com, takes you right to the YouTube videos. Subscribe, share the shit with your friends and your followers and everybody else. I really appreciate it. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, be great. And make sure you go to reptheadvocates.com, get yourself one of these right here, these hats right here, or one of these shirts, especially with the flag right here on the left side. There you go. And we'll see you guys next week, of course. For everybody here, have a good night. Hope you guys enjoy UFC 212, and good night, Wilshire.